Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We are so pleased to have Scott Stolberg here today. He's just a wonderful photographer. I'm a big fan of his. And he's going to be talking about his wonderful images, as you can see up on the screen here, some of his beautiful images on his website. And then he's going to just wow you, because I know he just does. Every time I see his images, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So let me go ahead and do a brief introduction to Scotty. He's been a professional photographer for over 25 years, specializing in travel and stock photography. His stock photography is represented by many stock agencies, including Corbis and Getty Images. He's also a contributing writer for Shutterbug magazine, and he's a co-author of the Digital Photographer's New Guide to Photoshop Plugins. He lives in Sedona and has been there for less than a year with his fiancee. They travel back and forth to Los Angeles, where he teaches digital photography and Photoshop at UCLA Extension and the Julia Dean photography workshops. Scott also does photography workshops in the U.S. and places like Death Valley and abroad to exotic places like Burma. And he gave up film in the year 2001, and he just loves to share his insights into the digital photography workflow and the benefits of mastering Photoshop. So from Microsoft, Newsweek, and the New York Times to greeting cards, calendars, book covers, and billboards, his images are used internationally. And his photographs are in collections all over the world, including a permanent display in the United Nations and the new UCLA Medical Center, with prints displayed in over 60 patient rooms. That's really, really nice. And if you want to see more information about Scott, go ahead and go to his website after this presentation, www.asa100.com. And I'm going to go ahead and have Scotty take it away. Scotty, thank you so much for joining us today.
You got it, Lori. Let me get rid of my... let me see. Can you see this screen or not? I want to kind of minimize everything. Okay. How's that looking? Can you see my screen?
Yep, we can see your desktop.
Okay, that's what I meant. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another cool webinar here at Nik. I've been using, Lori and I were just talking, I've been using Nik software and had them come in and do demos for me at my user groups back at Apple Computer 15 years ago, and they're 17 years old as a company, so I've been working with them since almost the beginning. I absolutely love them. I was telling Lori yesterday that I deal with a lot of plugin companies, and I love showing software for everything cool that's out there, and I'd have to say that in my opinion, I really honestly feel Nik is number one in just coming out with great stuff, with the design of their software, with their beta team that I'm a part of. I mean, everything about them is just fantastic. And I'm going to show you today Nik Silver Effects Pro 2, which I honestly have to say is probably my favorite plugin that's ever been made. It's a piece of software that's been a long time in coming, and I just love it. And starting off from a darkroom perspective, when I got a darkroom when I was 13 years old, I love working in the darkroom. I love watching my images come to life, converting them to black and white, and dodging and burning, and playing with different filters, and doing everything. And in all the classes I taught year after year, people always say, "Hey, how do I convert to black and white? What's the best way?" And whether I'm at UCLA or another school, I really couldn't say, hey, this is great software. It was just like do it yourself in Photoshop, even though I've always been waiting for a great plugin to come out. And the day they announced Silver Effects Pro a few years ago, I just flipped because I knew if anyone could do it right, it was going to be Nik. And we started working on it and doing the beta, and I said, this is it. It's finally here. And it was the best software in the world. And now, you know, when they announced the beta of Silver Effects 2 and I started working on it with everybody, I knew they had completely made it even that much better. So today we're going to show Silver Effects Pro 2, which is, to me, even light years beyond Silver Effects Pro 1. Absolutely love it. I'm going to start off with a little slideshow. Now that I lost Bridge, because I took it away here, let me see if I can actually get it back here. Sorry about that. Let me see where Bridge is. Bridge is in here. I had it on there, and I had to minimize my desktop. I think that's why I had that up there, Lori, so that I could. Where's Bridge? Anybody see Bridge? There it is. Okay. Okay. I'm going to. Okay. Oh, it was on the side over there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show just a bunch of images to start off the webinar. Um, what I like to say, if it looks good in color, it might really look nice in black and white also. Sometimes it might not look as good. Sometimes it might look better. This was shot in studio. This is just a really quick conversion to black and white using Nik Silver FX Pro. My friend Liz, one light, softbox off to her left side. For me, I like this much better with Nik Silver FX Pro. I used a macro lens, a 100 macro. I got her pearls with a beautiful blur here, and it's just one light coming in from the side over here. It was actually an 8x8 little West, I think it was a Westcott. It was a small little box. Africa, we did a safari. It's just a beautiful place to shoot tribes. I love shooting over there, but I really felt the image had a lot more impact in black and white. Actually, a touch of sepia. I really like adding a touch of sepia for many of my images. Little Maddie in the grass. This actual shot, I used a 500 millimeter lens. I love doing portraits with all kinds of different things. You can see the blur back here. I actually added some texture also, but this circle is from the bokeh of the 500 millimeter, if you can believe that. There's more circles over here. You can see how blurry the grass was in front of her, because the shallow depth of field from that 500 was amazing. But anyway, color, black and white, emphasizes the texture, emphasizes the circle here. Just a yummy feeling here. So before and after. My two little buddies right here were on the beach shooting. I was using a ray flash. You could see the little circles in the eye. I love using ray flash from Expo Imaging. It's a beautiful way to put a ring light on your subjects, converting to black and white. So it's nice if you're talking about converting to black and white and you're a little confused how to do it in Photoshop, or you don't like the tools they have in there that are pretty good, but you want something that, boom, in 2 seconds you can do something great. Silver FX Pro is great. My first day in New Delhi, shot this beautiful little Indian boy. I put him on the edge of the brick here of the building. The brick was coming this way and then going that way. And then sometimes I like to use Nik, and I'm going to show you, to just soften and mute the colors a little bit. I used to do hand tinting, and you could see it looks good this way. And then if you mute it, I'm going to show you how to do that. It's just so easy. It takes a second. But you have to convert it to black and white or sepia first. Another shot in India, a little boy had a big cut on his face. I was on the backside of the Taj Mahal, one of my favorite places to shoot from. Right now I heard it was closed off, but I usually walk camels back here and have a great time at the backside. I thought it looked pretty cool in color, but I really liked the impact it had from black and white. Really easily done with Silver FX Pro 2. I take some of my classes to the Getty museums, and I love photographing sculpture. Obviously, you're shooting in color with your digital camera, and it looks okay, but I think beyond that. I tell them, let's talk about afterward how we're going to make it look. With Nik Silver FX Pro 2, look how amazing and contrasty and with such great impact you can get from just an okay shot of someone like Hercules or whoever this was to a shot like this. I think going to work on this shot and show you how I did that. It's piece of cake, piece of cheesecake actually. Here's another one, a close-up of the face. Looks okay, but in about, I don't know, 10 seconds, complete different feeling. I mean, that's a moody shot for me right here. Even though some of you might not shoot stuff like this, just know you can go to your local museum, shoot some of this stuff, and come back with some really cool stuff. So it was great bringing my classes in there and having them learn how to do this. I'm always using Silver FX Pro pretty much in every class I teach. The Camargue horses in the south of France. Beautiful little moment, but converting to black and white. But you can also see the slight bit of sepia going in here. Like I said, I love sepia toning in a dark room, but I love the variations of sepia toning here with Nik. Workshop we did with models out at Joshua Tree State Park, sunrise, put a diffuser over her head, bounced some light over here. I had two assistants going on showing students how to shoot, but it was just okay. I was not thrilled with it. I was much happier with this. Look at that difference. Sometimes I just know, shooting and setting up that shot, shooting it, that it's going to be much better when I convert it to black and white. And that's a huge difference. Let's go. This is one of my shots I do in my I did in my workshops to Burma. Actually, I just won an award on with this shot yesterday. I was really happy. And I set him up. I took his robe and I put it across his face. I thought of something different rather than they wear it across their chest. I wanted to do something different. I knew I had something good here. Shot it vertical and horizontal. I like the vertical better, but I'm going to show you how to go from that to this. Much more impact. And part of what I'm going to show you today is not just converting to black and white, but converting to black and white and then going back to color and having much more impact. So this was a good base shot, but I knew in my mind this is what I was going for, something with drama. Sort of like Steve McCurry's Afghan Girl shot, similar feeling. I wasn't thinking about that at all when I was setting this up, but afterwards with Nik Silver FX Pro, I go, wow, it looks kind of similar. He and I actually used the same guide in Burma. I love going to Burma. This is also in Burma by the Ubain Bridge. I love shooting by candlelight. I teach all my students how to shoot by candlelight. I put two over here for a main light, more or less, and I put one as a little backlight, similar to being in the studio with your main and a back or a fill light. And you can see where it's filling in over here, converting the black and white, completely different feeling. And if you're in this webinar, you're hopefully liking black and white. I absolutely love it. So I like color and I love black and white. This was in that same workshop in Joshua Tree. I put the two of them together, had to close their eyes, got a really cool pose, and then converted to black and white. Slight bit of sepia in there, remember? It's not completely black and white. Before, which had a lot of power, and then afterwards. Really, I really like the feeling of this one, so much more with black and white. Little Natalie in the grass, also shot with a 500. See the beautiful blur back here? Not many people would think of using a super telephoto for shooting portraits, but I love doing that. I teach a class at the Picture Perfect School of Photography. It's called PPSOP Online, and it's called Eye-to-Eye Capturing the Face. It's all about doing stuff like this, trying all different ways, all different lighting, all different techniques and lenses to get beautiful portraits. And I also talk about Silver FX Pro in the class too, and I love showing all the different ways to shoot portraits. And shooting with a 500, which many people don't have, would be similar to shooting with a 300 or even a 200, except you get a little more compression and a little shallower depth of field at times. But conversion to black and white makes a complete different feeling. Africa, shooting this was the Maasai tribe. I really like the feeling converting to black and white. Shot down on Megan. She wanted like a high school portrait, but something different. Put her in the grass, shot down. I blurred out her hair a little bit, but she had a lot of freckles, so I had to be careful. And then converting to black and white gave a whole different feeling. It did emphasize the freckles, but she didn't mind. She had an incredible face. My friend Alexei, Russian painter, converting to black and white. I like this one so much more. So this software does it in like seconds. This was a studio shot. I took everyone in the studio in one of my classes at UCLA. I love how I got in so tight shooting vertical here, but I also love the conversion to black and white. And look at that again. She looks great in color, and I think she looks great in black and white. I'm probably going to work on this one. I'm going to actually open up the fur over here a little bit more in the demonstration. I made it a little dark on this one. This is another one where I work on the opacity. Looked good in color, but I really like the way I hand tinted it. And this is done in 2 seconds. If we have time, I'm going to try and show you how I did this one. But sometimes full color looks better when you use partial color, and I love doing this. My friend Stevana, we were at the beach, right at the beach, leaning against my aunt's beach house, and the wind was blowing her hair, and converted to black and white in a matter of seconds. Got in close. I love using my 50 macro to get in tight. I use it all the time. I show that in my PPSOP class, how a macro or a 50 can give you great portraits by getting in tight and cropping out. Look where I cropped. You really don't need everything else, as long as you frame it and you compose it properly. Little Natalie. Pretty intense little moody pose. She's the most amazing model in the world. This is taking the vignette feature in Silver FX Pro 2 and changing it to the opposite, removing the vignette and making it look more antique. So easily done. There's a preset for this. You could do this in probably 4 seconds. Here's another pose of her. And I love the grittiness of the black and white. She's just gorgeous, beautiful red hair, photographed so nicely. I also love working so much, changing animal pictures to black and white. The close-up of the elephant, you can see how I framed it, right? Just right in close, converting to black and white. So much grittier. I love using vignettes. You're going to see a lot of vignetting today from me because I just think it's the best vignetting in the world in Silver FX Pro 2. I don't think any other program can even touch it, and I just love, take a great shot in Africa or at the zoo or wherever you are, go into Silver FX Pro 2, and you're going to get something really yummy. You can actually accentuate by bringing up the structure, which is one of my favorite features. Little family there. I did that little reverse vignetting here to make it look a little bit more antique. Or I do things like this. You might not think, oh, that's not a portrait. It sort of is. It's a portrait of part of this elephant. When I take people on a safari, I love telling them, don't just concentrate on the whole animal. Think about body parts. And this shows him in the middle of walking with his trunk, and I love it. It left a little bit negative space over here. I actually have to do this a lot of the time for type, to use it in an ad for advertising for my stock agencies. But converting it to black and white, totally different feeling here. I can add grain. I can add drama. So before, which worked, and then after. Carnival, one of my favorite places in the world to go. I add a little bit of texture. This is in Venice, Italy. Converting to black and white, emphasized the texture, and brought out Solange a whole different way. I mean, she looks great in color. I think the image is powerful in black and white. Alyssa, color at the park. Reverse vignetting. Sometimes you might see this used too much, but it's still fun. I really like this. It's a whole different feeling here. This is at that workshop. This is Kristen. Put her up on the rocks. I came out with this with Silver FX Pro 2. I'm going to show you how to do that if we have time. The Maasai, this is the Maasai tribe. No, Samburu tribe, sorry. And watch this subtle difference when I go from here to, you see the sky pop out, their clothing pops out the ground. I'm going to go back. That's a normal shot, and that's with Silver FX Pro 2. So what I'm going to show you is how to use Silver FX Pro 2 to make your color images pop. Little Alyssa again, I was spinning her around with her dad. Totally different feeling. Look at the vignetting, top and bottom. Look what happened. Just amazing. This vignetting in this program is incredible. My friend Tino and his wife had twins. I said, call me the minute they're ready to photograph. 3 weeks later, he said, get your butt over here. And I knew what I wanted to do. This was a no-brainer. This was nice, but I knew exactly. Silver FX Pro 2. Like I said, animals. Complete different feeling with Silver FX Pro 2. Notice the little baby cheetah. This is probably my favorite animal in the whole continent to photograph, is a baby cheetah, maybe in the whole world. Silver FX Pro 2 just changed it subtly enough to make me really think it was exactly what I wanted. I love finding monks all over Burma, and I photograph them. I'm actually working on a book right now in Burma, and I just found a publisher, so I'm really excited. I love photographing in Burma, but he was a little distracting, and I knew I needed to make it a little bit yummier. Silver FX Pro 2 gave me this image from this image right here. Fernanda, a little subtle change right here. So I think it looks good both ways. A little more color, a little less color. And I play with it. There's so many variations. This is Liz, had her close her eyes, shot with a 105 macro straight down on her. Just didn't look right in color. Totally different feeling converting to black and white. One more time. Color, black and white. My friend Seth, doing a book right now on underwater dogs. It went viral. It's incredible. He wanted pictures at Santa Monica Pier with and without his girlfriend, so I shot him at Santa Monica Pier with just one light coming down, which was a lamppost, and converted to black and white. I really like the conversion here. I'm going to show you one more time. Before and after. Really nice. On the Ubain Bridge in Burma, all the women there, most of them wear face paint, which is like sunblock, and it's traditional, and it's kind of beauty paint, converting to black and white. My friend Linda in the studio, converting to black and white. I'm just trying to show you a whole different variety of images before I get to start working on them. This is in the studio, one of my classes at UCLA, and actually this was, I think, a black background. I made blue in Photoshop. I tried to give it some kind of glow, and it worked nicely. I really like the way this came out in color, and I really like my conversion to black and white. This is literally just one of the basic settings right here. I did very little from this to this. I think we're going to work on this one, and it's a really easy transformation. I'm also going to show you this, going from full color to selective color, just maybe a muted color kind of painted in, and the rest in black and white. So really easily done in the Silver FX Pro 2. Shoot a lot of pregnant women. I have a category on my website called Babies and Bellies. I love shooting bellies. Put her by the ocean at sunset. I waited for a sailboat to go across right over here, and then I loved what I did with the conversion here. You see this vignette and a little bit of grain. This is what I talk about when I'm talking about great vignetting in Silver FX Pro 2. No vignetting at all, and a beautiful silhouette with vignetting. That's just so yummy. Profiles are great. Think about that. I love shooting profiles. This is color. Look, it takes on a whole different life by converting to Silver FX Pro 2. Now, I could have probably done something pretty nice in Photoshop without any plugin, but Lori and I were talking this morning before the webinar started, and I told her it's your time, it's your knowledge that you may or may not have. I could do this in probably 15 seconds in Silver FX Pro 2, maybe 20 seconds. And the time it would take to go from this in Photoshop without using the plugin, I guarantee you it would be a lot more than 15 seconds. It would be a lot more. Little Maddie in the grass one more time with the 500. Silver FX Pro 2. So that is our webinar. Thanks for showing up today. Just kidding. Okay, so let's get right into working on the first image right here. I'm going to work on, let me see here. Okay, let's work on this little boy from New Delhi, okay? I'm going to put a black background back here. Here's the before, and here's afterwards. Everything going good, Lori?
Yes, it is.
Lori, still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to check.
Great.
Yeah, I could hear you. Thanks. So here's this little boy that I put. This is all available light. I didn't use a reflector or anything while I was over there. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm just going to throw away the layer, and I'm going to go right into Nik Silver FX Pro 2. I'm going to expand the screen over here. And I'm sure some of you, many of you already use Silver FX Pro 2 or use Silver FX Pro 1. I'll go over stuff just a little bit. You have your presets over here. You can turn on different presets right here. You can turn on all. You have your custom presets over here, which is pretty much how I work. We'll get into that more later, but I can scroll down, and once I've done something that gave me everything that I liked for that particular image, many times I save it right down here. I add the preset, and I give it a custom name, and I can remember African Boy, Best Dunes with Footprints, Christina Profile. That was that last profile, that girl. I love working over here under custom. These are my the ones that help out so much, so that it's done a lot of the work that I really like to do, and I don't have to keep going over you know, from the beginning over here. These are my, let me move this out of the way. These are my global adjustments over here. These were changed with Silver FX Pro 2. You now could open up and work on different parts of your structure and your contrast and your brightness. You come down here, you have all of your, this is where I live with control points. I'm going to work a lot on that today. And of course my grain, I can work on film types and put different kind of film looks in here, which I really like. And of course toning, which I absolutely love. I told you my CP tones I like. I love number 19, number 20 so much. My other favorite is probably 13 and possibly 14, and then I back off a little bit. You can make your own custom colors down here. So for a shot like this, probably the first thing I might do is come in and go, well, I know what I want to do right off the bat. I want to convert it to black and white and then change the opacity later. So I'm going to work on this one rather quickly to get into the other stuff. So I'll come over here, I'll pick neutral, and then I will scroll up, and I'll probably start working with these guys over here. I'll work on the midtone on this guy. I'll probably bump up the contrast a little bit overall right over here and see what happens. He's getting a little more impact. I can start playing with the whites. I realize it's just going to be too bright with this image. And I might even come over here to the structure, hit it overall, see if I like what's going on, bumping up a little bit. I realize he's getting a little bit dark over here. So I'm going to grab my first control point, probably place it right around the white of his eye over here, open it up like this. You touch on the control point, you open it up, and you can see the control point is over here. What I use a lot is brightness. I'm going to open up the brightness to the right a little bit, and I opened it up a little bit. And you can see what I did by clicking onto the screen. It will hide that, and then come over here and turn this on and off. You see what I just did? I opened it up a little bit. I think I like it, so I'm going to hold down the Option key and click and drag. It will copy the same control point with the same configurations over here. And I'm going to put it over here too. If you put it in the black, you have to be careful. You don't want to lighten the iris or the pupil of the eye too much. Sometimes I put it in the iris, sometimes I put it in the white. I'm going to put it maybe over here. And then I'll click off this control point too also and see what happens. A little bit brighter. I kind of like that. And I think just for sake of moving to the next image, I'm going to hit OK. It's going to create a layer mask over here. And then just create its own layer. There we go. So there's the layer. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to move this guy. He's our presenter panel out of the way. What I'm going to do is change my opacity right here. I'm going to go all the way back, and then I'm going to just start to fade out. You see what I'm doing here? I'm all the way black and white. I don't like this for this particular image, so I can also fade in. So you can go with your fade over here. This is a little scrubby. A lot of people come in here and do it. I prefer to go right on the word opacity and go forward or backward. It changes to a scrub. You see the little hand here? I'm going to go all the way forward and then back off, and that's where I get the tone that I like. So when I now turn on and off, a lot of color, less color. This is turning it into what I call a hand-tinted image. Really easily done with Silver Efex Pro 2. Okay? Let's go into this image of Lisa. This is an image that I really like working with Silver Efex Pro 2. This is the before. Here's an after. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to go back into Silver Efex Pro 2. And now I easily can hit custom over here and go to, say, I'll hit the first one, African Boy, and look what happens. It's pretty nice right off the bat. I don't want to do that because I want to show you how I got there. So let's just hit neutral. We can scroll down and we can look for something cool. I mean, I could hit high structure, see how this looks, a little too harsh. I'm going to scroll down to see what else looks good. How about Antique Plate 1? That's a great beginning. If you get kind of wondering, well, what would be a good one to start off with, I got to tell you, Antique Plate 1 was one of my favorites when I first started working. It gives you a good basis. So from there, what I want to do is move over to my right side and start to play with this. And maybe what I'm going to do is just start playing with my midtones, lighten up the shot overall. I might work on my highlights and see, oh, that's looking a little bit better. I'm lightening the face, lightening the whole shot, but I kind of like where it's going. Structure. This is one, obviously, that is very important when you're dealing with portraits because you certainly don't want to do this. You don't want to pull it all the way over there. Sometimes you want to back it off even below 50% because you can get some nice softening of the skin, but then you compromise everything else getting softer. So it might be a good one to actually paint in with the brush tool or use a layer mask, which we're going to get into later. I'm probably going to leave it right around here. I want a little bit of grit, a little bit of drama. Shadows, very important, these two sliders right here. Let me see if I can show you what it does. It opens up and kind of makes it a little more too soft a lot of the time. It opens up blocky shadows. I'm liking it down here. This is a very important slider to use on many images because it will open up block shadows, or it will close down and make it a little bit darker, like what I just did. It was here, I moved it over here. Now on this particular image, this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to amplify the blacks a little bit, okay? And watch what happens. I've made the image even that much more powerful, I think, okay? And then I can also go back to the shadows and look and see, yeah, this still looks good with my shadows closed down over here. I want to make sure that my mid-tone structure is not too strong. It was getting a little bit too strong with all of that, the contrast over here. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to probably add one of my favorite things, which is vignetting. I'm going to come down here. I can choose vignettes over here, or I can actually add vignetting myself right over here. And I think this is starting to look good. Now, what did it look like before? Well, if I just hit compare, it goes to the first preset, which was up here, neutral. Well, I really don't want to see it like compared to that. I really want to see it compared to my original color image. So what you have to do is you have to come over here and you have to show your history browser. A little confusing because it still does this. What you have to do is hit compare once when you've gone in here, like we just did. This will show, and then you move it up here. That's how this works. I can go back and forth to any state. I prefer most of the time to go to original image, and now when I hit compare, it shows me, oh yeah, we've come a long way. Then what I can do is I can close this up. In fact, if I want to, I can just hit show image only. Now, since I've already picked my preset over here, I don't need it anymore. I can just start working over here, and I love working this way with the image full size. If I was back here at any time, I could just hit the tab key. And many times I use the tab key so that I can look at it, and then after I've hit compare and I've done that, I can hit the P key. So this is how I work a lot too. I'll be over here, and or I will have, you know, the rest of the stuff showing. I will hit tab, and then I will hit P. This is really, for me, the best way to really see, do I like what I'm doing, because it's amplifying everything. Spacebar doesn't work here like it normally does, which I hit, but it definitely works great right here when I hit P, before and after. So I'm going to come back over here. Actually, I will hide that. And another thing that we can do, actually I'm going to play with soft contrast, one of my favorite parts of, hang on one second, just trying to find it. Soft contrast, a really important part of Nik. I'm going to start pulling this over. There we go. See what's going on? You have to be very careful with soft contrast. Move it a little bit at a time and see what you like. Just a great part of this plugin. Now, if I wanted to, what if I wanted to darken, say, just her jacket? I can grab a control point, and I can come over here. I can make the size a little bit bigger. It's looking for the areas. It's not going everything in this circle. It's looking for the tones within the circle. So right now, I can darken this jacket if I wanted to. And then I can hold down the Option key and drag it over here. Now watch what happens. I'm darkening this part too. So this is great when you want to selectively do brightening, contrast, structure, just different parts of the image by doing a control point and then option clicking. At least on the Mac, it's option clicking and then making the whole jacket say darker. Now, what I can do now is move into the mask, which is right here. And the mask, once I click it once, will show me what part got affected, but what else got a little bit more. And by using what Lori told me are called constricting control points, there was overlap over here. It didn't just hit the jacket. So I can go back, grab a control point, and click it anywhere inside the image, and it will take away some of that fall off that was making this image a little bit darker. I can actually do another control point over here. Look what happened. I can do another control point over here. and that pretty much eliminates any of that dark fall off. I'll come back over here. I think this is just fantastic to learn about this. We'll come back over to Lisa. Hopefully. It's a little confusing here. Come on, Lisa. Lori? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. It's a little bit slow. It should come back now. Let's see. Go, Lisa. Go. What do you think's going on? I hit one more time. There we go. Yes?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I think,
this is so weird.
Yeah, click on it once more.
Should I click on the screen here? Sometimes this happens. I'm not sure it has anything to do with the webinar. I didn't do this very much yesterday. Maybe if I go to a different tool. Okay, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that. But what we can do is we can actually go to a control point and see if it actually worked. So I can come to this control point. It's going to lighten up number 4, and I can click it off, and you can see a little bit. Excuse me. It made it a little bit. A difference. I'm going to come over here to her hair. That's number 3. I'm going to click it off, and look at that change. It actually did make a change over here. See that little subtle change over here? So the control points used with masking makes a huge difference if you just want to darken an area, or I can come back at any time too, and I can probably darken this up and get it a little bit more, and hopefully that mask is still working nicely. So what I'm going to do, I really like this. I'm just going to I'm going to hit OK. And it's going through its layer mask, which we're not keeping because I didn't use the brush mode. And here's the before and after. So I really like this. I probably should have gone in, taken out some of the grain, which I didn't notice, and it probably would have been a little bit softer on her face. Now, at any time, I could still also do the same thing, bring back the opacity and make something different. All of that color, at any time, I can come back and do this. So I'm going to hit Don't Save and go back really quickly and just show you Hercules. Let's go back into Nick. Wow, you could pretty much grab anything and it would look good. I'm going to grab, usually something like that might do well. There, in 1 second, look what happened. If I come up here, I go to my browser, I hit compare, and I move this up. Watch, before and after. We're on to something right here. So I'm actually going to hide that, like I was showing you. First thing I think I'm going to do is go into my toning, which I love. I wish I could get rid of this guy. I'm going to come over here into my toning, and I'm probably going to pick one of my favorites down here, number 19. I like this. It gave it a little bit of tone over here, but then I think, what am I going to do? I'm going to probably push, I'm going to go up to my soft contrast. And by the way, you can click these and close them all up, so you don't have to be moving around. I wanted you to see most of these. That's why I left most of them open. I'm going to come over here to, where is my soft contrast? Hiding over here. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to start playing with soft contrast, see what happens. Oh, I'm starting to like this. See what soft contrast is doing? It's doing totally different things than amplifying my blacks or my whites. And now I'm going to hit the P key. I love this. There's literally, for this image, nothing else I need to do. There's a lot more that I could do, but I want to move on to some other images in 2 seconds. Now, you could do something like this in Photoshop without this, but I absolutely love this, how easy this was. I'm going to hit Exit, go out of here, and let's go into Liz. Love working on this image. All right. So here's Liz. Let's get back our presets right over here. And this was just done with one softbox over here. I'll start off, say, from neutral, and let's see where we can go from here. I mean, obviously, I have these custom presets, and I have some down here. If I scroll down, you can see I have some down that actually say Liz. Here's cool Liz with blinds. Let's see what this looks like. This is from one that I did a little bit too dark. And here's Liz 3. Here's Liz 2. Just different looks. But I'm going to come back over here to presets, hit on neutral. And I think the first thing I probably want to do is hit a little bit of vignetting. I go all over the place, and there's no rhyme or reason for however I start off an image. But I'm going to start pulling over the vignetting and getting just a little bit of vignetting going on over here. I think she's a little bit light in the face, so I might come over here to a control point, pop one right about here, pull up my size, and then pull down the brightness just a hair. Just a little bit. And then at any time I can move this around and you can see how it's changing. I might put that actually on her face over there. I feel she really needs a tone. I'm going to come into toning, and I'm going to, number 19 again. I guess everyone knows, which is my favorite preset. And then I'll work on the strength. Make it a little bit darker. Okay? Now, if we hit compare, it's going back to the original. So what do? Come over here, hit compare, pull it up, and then let's just hide this guy again. Before and after. So we're on to something already. I'm probably going to come up, start working with my contrast. I'll open this up. I'll work with the soft contrast. Oh, look at that in a second. Started to darken her right eye a little bit more. Give me what I call the yummy factor. And I'm going to hit P again, before and after. I feel that the tone is still not strong enough. So I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to go to my slider and pull up and make it a little bit yummier. And God, this is pretty cool. I think I want to brighten her eye just a little bit though. I'm going to hit a control point right on her iris, go a little bit about that size, open it up, boom. I think maybe just to show you guys a little bit more. I'll click off, it will hide this, and then I'll go over to my control point number 2 and show you the difference. Open it up just a little bit. I think I went a little too much. I'm going to click on it again. I'm going to back off. I'll click over here and then boom, there we go. I'll hit full screen and now I'll hit P, before and after. We're kind of close to what I had before, but in you know, I want to be able to answer some questions also. I kind of just want to move on, but this is basically my workflow, and it's a good workflow. I mean, you could see how long it took. I'm going to look at the shot, hard light 75%. I know exactly what I did. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to Silver FX Pro 2. I want to make this color image a little bit more powerful. What I want to do is just take, what do I want to do with him? I'm not sure what I want to do with him. He is, let me see here. I wrote down a note what I did with him. Okay. I'm going to come over here to Film Noir. It's a great preset. It's really beautiful. Makes it look pretty powerful right off the bat. Now, of course, you can add image borders anytime you want down here. This is number 12. I can go along here, do some incredible effects by moving in and out, moving in and out my image borders however I want. Change the spread. Absolutely love image borders here. I go to another one over here. Change the size. I don't want anything on this particular image. I want to leave it like this. I had played with burn edges. Sorry. I think I'm going to turn that off for now. And I'm going to come in right now and I'm going to back off on one of my favorite sliders, which is the grain slider. I'm going to maybe go about here, leaving a little bit of grain. And I think this is fine for what I want to show you. I think I'm going to leave it here and less grain. I'm just going to hit OK. Actually, what I could do is see if it will work with the brush right now. I'm going to grab my Wacom brush, which I'm always using. Let's see if it brings up the brush control panel here. It did. It's going to let me right now. It brought up a layer mask, see, which it wasn't doing before if you don't hit brush. I'm always working in layer mask. Nick has a great way where you can work in a layer mask without learning how to do a layer mask. Right now, what I want to do is I want to fill in the effect. It just gave me the whole effect, okay? So I just filled in the effect. But what I want to do is change my blend mode. And this is what I do to work on color images and make them more powerful. I'm going to come under normal. And I could hit luminosity, which is a cool effect. I could hit soft light. For this particular image, I think I'm going to go to hard light. It made a pretty strong look on him, but what I'm going to do is go to opacity, and I'm going to back it off to about, I don't know, maybe about 60%. Now look at the difference before and after. It's looking pretty powerful, but his face still has too much of that hard light on there. So what I'm going to do is come over here and hit erase. And I'm going to come up here and work on my opacity because it's using your brushes, and then I'm going to paint out the effect in his face. It's going to go back using my original layer and paint it in. So you can see if I hold down the shift key, that's what I just painted out. I made his face look less contrasty. And now, before and after. Before and after. I love doing this. I can do the same thing using a layer mask, but I just showed you using NYX software. So I'm going to get rid of this. Really quickly, just to show you, I'm going to do one more with this particular image. I'm going to take this image, which looks pretty good, and I'm going to make it, let me see, I remember what I did. I wrote down a note here so I could get it right. I'm going to come down here to, where was it? It was, I used a pretty strong one. I forget exactly what I used. Can't remember. Well, let's just grab one over here just to show you. See, dark sepia, not exactly what I wanted. I wanted something a little more crisp. Okay, that's a little bit too crisp, but what I can do is use that one. I can't remember exactly what I used, but I'm going to back down the contrast a little bit, and I will probably take this image, darken it a little bit. Not exactly what I want to do, but what I'm going to do is just hit OK. And all I'm going to do is change the blend mode. So this isn't going to be exactly, because I forget exactly which preset I used. I was looking at my notes here, and I can't find that one. But I'm going to just come over here to my blend modes and go to, say, luminosity, and maybe back down just a little bit. And before and after, you can see what it's doing. It's making the ground look different. It's really emphasizing the clouds. So if you have a shot with a lot of clouds like this and you want to make it look a lot more powerful, look how easy that was. I took a black and white image, all right? A black and white image. I could have backed up at any time and made it a little more, you know, hand-tinted, but I don't want that. What I wanted to do was change the blend mode and before and after. So think about that. Taking some of your images, not going to work with everything. Take some of your images and working. My favorite is luminosity for many images, and going before and after. And you're going to pop the colors. You're going to pop the clouds in the sky. Pretty cool stuff. Let me work on him real quick because I want to show you something kind of cool. Let's go into NYX Silvervex Pro 2, and let's get a fun little preset. I'm going to come in here and go, let me pick one of my custom ones. I'll come in here. This is, say you've tweaked it, you got something. I did one in here called Pierce, and let me see if I can find it. So they have all names on here so I can look at things. Oh, I can't exactly find it, so I'll find something else. Let me see, Mingun Monk. Oh, that works fine. I'm going to come over here. I don't want a border, so I'm going to turn my borders off. I kind of like the overall feel of this, but I want to bring back some color. So easily done. I go into my control points that I absolutely love. I'm going to put one, say, right about here, but I'll be moving it around, and adjust the size. And now what I'm going to do is bring back selective color. I'm going to take this one, and it's going to start to bring in some color in this particular fabric and texture and tone in the image. And I like what it's done, but it didn't do it over here. So all I'm going to do, hold down the Option key, click and drag. Look what it's doing. It's just finding it on that fabric. Oh my God, so cool. I'm going to click and drag again, and I'm going to click and drag again. Look, it's completely bypassing the face. Now, depending where I move it, look, from here to here, huge difference. And big difference. Let's go over to our history browser, hit compare, move this up, and I'm going to hit P, before and after. Now, at any time, I can make this a little bit stronger also, but that's pretty fun. I went to a black and white image and brought in a little selective color. You could do that with lips. You can do that with eyes. I do that with eyes. There's so many different things that you can do. So anyway, that was, hopefully you saw that. It was kind of fun. Let's try this one of Kirsten right here. I'm going to get rid of this. This one's kind of fun, actually. I'm going to bring this in here. And let's take her and let's just leave it on neutral right off the bat. Let's go pick a film type. One of my favorite things to do is to go pick film types. Love this. Go under film types. Look at all these different looks you can get. So if you're totally like, wow, I want to try something new, this is like saying, well, were you shooting FP4, Ilford? Or were you shooting T-Max 100 that day? I absolutely love this. I used every kind of film in the world, and this is a lot of fun. I'm going to come over and I'm going to try, let's see, ACFA, let me see, ACFA, let's try this. Let's see the difference here. Let's try this one right here, okay? And then I'm going to, what am I going to do on this one? I'm going to take a control point, put it over here, and maybe I'm going to work on, I can actually, let's see, move around here. I'm trying to think what I want to do with this particular image. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not even going to worry about that right now. I'm going to just come up here and play with my darkness. I'm going to play with this. I'm going to play with my midtones. And I'm going to work on my contrast right here. And what I wanted to do, I forget exactly what I wanted to do with her was, no, I don't want to use selective color. I forget what I did. I did something really cool, and I was able to change the background of the sky. I've done this a million times, and now I'm kind of blanking a little bit. Oh, I know what I did. I came over here, I think, and there we go. I can pretend that I used a different color filter with my black and white film. So I can work in here, and at any time I can work on this and say, you know, I think that looks a little bit better, and then I can work with my strength slider, and look what I'm doing. So I'm actually, I'll pull down my, sorry for blanking on this, I work on so many images. I'm going to pull down my highlight slider, and maybe midtones just a little bit right here. Actually, what I need to do is take that control point, put it on her face, make it a little bit smaller, and then make her a little bit darker. There we go. Okay. And now, there we go. So working over here, I can work on the background, and I can start to make it a little bit different. I'm going to hit OK. And look at the difference here. And then what I could do is I could probably, let me see if I can change it to, say, luminosity. I've taken the original image, and at any time right here, I can use a layer mask by coming down here, creating a layer mask, and grabbing my brush and painting in, depending on the opacity. I'll probably change this down a little bit. And even going on the rocks over here. Same way I'm using the brush tool inside. And here we have before and after. Before and after. So we've, I can, darken her at any time, make her look even a little bit darker using the layer mask. So before and after, totally change the look here. I would probably actually want to go in here and change the opacity a little bit more, make the brush a little bit smaller, and darken her a little bit more, maybe darken all the rocks and everything, make it a little bit more realistic. And then look at the before and after. So this is really fun. I love working and changing the sky, stuff like that.
Alrighty. Well, Scotty, thank you so much. This has been a great presentation, and thanks everyone for joining us as well. And Scotty, where can they find more information about you and workshops and where you're at?
On my website, it's asa100.com.
Great.
And yeah, if anybody wants to say hi, give me a holler. Okay, I love teaching. Leaving in October for classes at UCLA and the Julie Dean workshops in LA, and then doing a Death Valley workshop. I mean, I'm all over the place, and I love it because the cool thing about what I do is I get to go all over the place, travel with my fiance, and then also teach at different schools. So anyway, you want to say hi, just write me a note.
Great. Okay, thanks so much, Scotty, and thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day,
Thanks
everyone.
a lot.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.